employing evidence is, again, something their class does really well, and most people are just ham-fisted about. So when you do it really well, they're gonna go, oh, he's one of us. Give Angel a name. Even though his bibliography is only half done, and I don't recognize this font, there's ketchup on the page, but look how nicely he introduces and employs evidence.
Ketchup on the page.
His name probably on the paper, so it's kind of
But whoever this guy is, he introduces evidence well. Give him a name. Give him a name, yes. All right. Let's look at the homework then, and we'll put then the They.Says behind us the next one. So, if you look at, you have the email sheet that has each chapter. It's a little size. So for this homework, you'll be doing chapters 4 through 7. And let's go to page 66 and make sure we're comfortable with chapter 4. Chapter 4's assignment, at least. So the first one starts with read one of the essays in the back of the book, or on They.Say.I.blog.com. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you right now just cross that out and say use an Orwell essay. And I would say why don't we all just do revenge? Let's just all do revenge is sour for that. So for number 1, instead of the essays in the back of this book, do revenge is sour. And then it says simply identify those places where the author agrees with others, or disagrees with others, or both. And Revenge is Sour, as you've just seen, is actually an excellent essay for Orwell agreeing with others and disagreeing with others. Okay? All right, then, number 2. Angel, read number 2 for us, please.
Chapter 4?
Yes.
As written, but assume your essay will be the only 2 or 3 very crisp paragraphs. Therefore, you should respond to something very specific or will claim.
Okay, and read from the book on 66, the assignment. Number 2.
I was about to say what they were doing.
Write an essay responding in some way to the essay that you worked with in the preceding exercise.
So you'll be responding to Revenge is Sour. Go ahead.
You'll want to summarize and or quote some of the author's ideas and make clear whether you're agreeing, disagreeing, or both agreeing and disagreeing with that he or she says. Remember that there are templates in this book that can help you get started. See chapters 1 through 3 for templates that will help you represent other people's ideas, and chapter 4 for templates that will help you get started with your response.
Cool. Thank you for reading. So you're going to respond to something, singular I think is best, something that Orwell claims in those 12 paragraphs of Revenge is Sour. Now, I'm only going to ask you to write like a page worth for this, so don't try to respond to everything he says in Revenge is Sour. You will very quickly run out of space. Pick one small thing. So as an example of one small thing, remember how he says in 1940, we thought about revenge differently than in 45. That was all you have to say. Or at the end, he talks about that Belgian reporter who sees a dead body after the war is finally over, in effect. And he says, if we had taken a different bridge and not seen that dead body, that reporter would still have a different view of the war. Just a tiny little piece like that, okay? Or that when the SS officer got kicked right in his deformed club foot. He makes a very specific claim about that. So just agree or disagree, or both, if you use those templates for the small pieces of Orwell claims. Okay, good for that section? Mm-hmm. All right, let's jump to chapter 5 then, 74 to 76. What are we doing with number 1? Louder, Ian.
Skip it.
Skip it, okay. Then Ian, will you read number 2 for us?
Study a piece of your own writing to see how many perspectives you account for and how well you distinguish your own voice from those you are summarizing. Consider the following questions. A, how many perspectives do you engage? B, What are other perspectives might you include? C, how do you distinguish your views from the other views you summarize? D, do you use clear voice signaling phrases?
And I'll pause you there, so you don't know what those are yet, but when you read this chapter, you will, okay?
E, what options are available to you for clarifying who is saying what? F, which of these options are best suited for this particular text? If you find that you do not include multiple views or clearly distinguish between other views and your own, revise your text to do so.
Okay. So those of you who have been doing a lot of college in the past few years, and you've got pieces you can draw from, do that. Or you can go right back to the page you wrote for the previous paragraph, responding to a small Orwell claim about revenge, and ask yourself, do I incorporate multiple perspectives in that? And so you will, this chapter is all about bringing in lots of different points of view. Yours is still gonna win, but it shows you how to represent different points of view and to signal them, as it calls it, so you can interrogate your own writing as you do so. Thank you for reading these. Jump to page, chapter 6, on pages 89 to 90. Now, what are we doing with number 1?
Don't do it.
I was about to touch a hot stove.
Yes.
Luckily, Mel was there to tell me don't do it. All right, will you read number 2 for us then?
Yep. As written. So look over something you've written that makes an argument. Check to see if you anticipated and responded to any
And
objections.
that's really what this chapter is about, anticipating and responding to possible objections. So if I start writing about vegetarianism, that is a possible objection to somebody who's going to go, all right, but I just shoot deer on my property. Isn't that okay? I anticipate that objection and I build in defenses against it. That's what this chapter is. Go ahead, man.
If not, revise your text to do so. If so, have you anticipated all the likely objections? Who, if anyone, have you attributed the objections to?
That would be like me saying, but hunters want to hunt. I attribute the objection. Go ahead.
Have you represented the objections fairly? Have you answered them well enough, or do you think you now need to qualify your own argument? Could you use any of the language suggested in this chapter? Does the introduction of a naysayer strengthen your argument? Why or why not?
And that word naysayer is probably new to you, but you're going to see it's like this formal term for cutting them off at the pass. So I would say, hunters want to complain blank, but I'm only talking about corporate meat, industrial meat, not local rabbits and bambies and so on. So that would be a naysayer. I would cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, if you have recent college work, look back over it for this assignment. If not, make this chapter the third pass on the first part of the homework where you object to Orwell. Because you could, for instance, say, people in previous wars felt about revenge this way, but America in the 20 years since 9/11 thinks about revenge this way. So maybe you would anticipate the people who fought in Iraq back in the first George Bush era, or people who were in Lebanon in '85, or people who were in Central America in the early '80s, that you could point to these objections that others might have in that way. And so you can still be hammering your revenge essay in this chapter if you choose to. Thank you for reading. Let's look at the last one then, page 99 to 100. We are doing number 1. So let me have Luis, will you read number 1 for us?
Find several texts, extraordinary essays, newspaper articles, emails, memos, blogs, etc., and see whether they answer the so what and the who cares questions.
And this chapter will be all about teaching you so what's and who cares. Okay, so like, as an example of so what and who cares, random fan possibly has less credibility than drafted quarterback and owner of team, right? Or Josh Norman, who I believe is our highest paid player, still playing at the moment. So like those guys would seem to have more so what's than random fan. Go ahead, sir.
So what and who cares questions? Probably some do, some don't. What difference does it make whether they do or they do not? How do the authors who answer these questions do so? Do they use any strategies or techniques that you could borrow for your own writing? Are there any strategies or techniques recommended in this chapter, or that you found or developed on your own, that you recommend these actors?
To these authors, okay. Question here, for that chapter, I said everybody should look up articles on climate change. Do you want us to pick a topic for this one, or do you want the freedom to jump around?
Do we just jump around?
We can, I'm asking.
I'd rather just jump around.
Okay, the topic I was gonna go with was winter boots, because my little toesies were cold for the first time riding in this morning. But we can do any topic. Ian does not wanna look up winter boots?
No, I'm saying, no, I feel your pain, I did that on Saturday.
Okay. So, then maybe we should have a dozen people report to us on winter boots. What do you say?
Who cares?
All right. Okay, so we will fall back
So
to the
what?
original plan of any topic you like. All right, any topic you like for number one, but several different texts. And you see how in parentheses they say, make some of them scholarly, some of them from the newspaper, some of them blogs. So jump, whatever topic you pick, jump around on the quality of the source. How well do they do? Do we do number two?
No.
I'll read it.
No,
That's the big no.
Oh, we're not doing it? Oh, okay.
not today.
I thought you was asking something.
Mel,
I'll read it.
does he have a copy of the assignment? Does
He
does
probably does somewhere.
All right. 'Cause our note is not a surprise. It says no.
Oh, no, I don't have the paper
Okay,
on
well,
me.
let's get you.
That's fine.
We'll make sure you get one. All right, so those will be for
Yeah,
next
that's
Wednesday, and let's anticipate a quiz.
Oh, I did.
That will be half your last diagramming ever, if you choose so. So, two more diagrams, for that quiz Wednesday. And then I'll ask you to employ some of these frames. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll copy paste, like a 2-paragraph piece from the newspaper. And I'll have you employ these techniques to look at the 2 paragraphs I copy paste from the newspaper. So you'll show off your templating a little bit on the second half of that quiz. Before we move on from the first third of this book, how are you finding They Say, I Say? Is it accessible enough? Are you making progress?
Mhm.
Think. Tell us, Brian, what do you make of They Say, I Say?
I like it so far. It's literally just helping us write our paragraphs and our essays. It's setting us up for how to write things much easier.
Okay, easier is definitely part of their goal. Remember, this was written by 2 college English professors who are used to, especially their freshmen, running into this wall. I don't know how to get started.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to say. And it's definitely supposed to, like, you just realize you're halfway to your paragraph, kind of thing. Kim, how are you finding it?
I do like it. I feel like it's great starter pieces when it comes to like knowing, not using like the same format that I've been using all the time. So like,
Okay.
if I want to do like another argument piece, kind of, I know exactly what other way I should say it that sounds a lot more
Okay.
not easy route, like elementary school.
So there was some redundancy in your earlier writing?
Right.
Okay.
Kind of like played it safe, like simple stuff.
Okay.
Not challenging, like my work is just more like simple, like they argued because blah blah blah, but versus in the controversy, you know, just simple text.
So you can be a little more sophisticated in your introduction.
Right.
Cool. I look forward to reading those things. Good. I'm glad this text is working. I'm further wondering if in screwing up the bookstore did us a favor, that when you get to the style manual after this, you'll actually have better things to write in different styles. So I wonder if doing this book after giving reasons but before the style manual is actually useful. All right, it's a little early, but go ahead and score some coffee. And when you come back then,